Hello everybody, it's Tony is right. I'm gonna try and get this uploaded before Juneteenth, which is like literally in like 15 minutes. So this video was about me getting published. So I have been accepted into publication. I submitted like the max amount to this journal. I'm not gonna say it just yet until it all comes out. So it's probably gonna come out like July-ish. But my thoughts on why I am submitting things was the chapbook video, you should probably watch that, and like summer plan videos, you should probably watch those as well. But I wanted to be published because I wanted to kind of exhaust my portfolio and see if stuff would stick. So the idea was I had 2 semesters worth of work, right? I had 2 semesters worth of poetry. So it's about 11 weeks-ish worth at about roughly 30 to 40 poems, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't write a lot after that outside of assignments. So my first semester, we were getting into poetry. My second semester was poetry and memoir. So some of my assignments had to be like memoir assignments. So it wasn't full poetry, but I enjoyed the memoir poetry class a lot. I decided, like I said, to submit because I wanted to get my work out there. I wanted to see how good, I guess, I was after like a year's worth of poetry writing, right? And I'm writing poetry like every week when I'm in class or every other week or something like that. And I wanted to test myself and I wanted to see how well like I was going as far as like building a poem, the language of the poem, individual lines, was I taking care about the lines, stuff like that. I wanted to make sure that I had a steady, not income, that's not what it is, a steady flow of like mentions, awards, stuff like that. Just because post-graduation, I know how that can be for a lot of things. I know that some people, they get the MFA and they fall off. Even my teacher was talking about like how like a close friend of his like no longer really writes at all, even though they both went through the poetry concentrate, like they both went through the program. Some people like lose the will to kind of like do stuff with their degree, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure that I kept myself active. One of the ways you keep yourself active is, yes, writing, of course, but also submitting things. I wanted to kind of just put my feelers out and challenge myself, right? Different themes, lengths. I submitted to not just poetry, I submitted to like kind of like nanofiction, so to speak. I didn't get through. So update on the NYC, I had a video, I'm sorry, I'm gonna preface it. I had a video that I was supposed to upload about me applying to NYC midnight writing competition. I did one like a few years ago and I submitted to the 100 word, I think it's the 100 word story, and the top like 15 people, I guess, in each group or whatever were selected. Mine wasn't, but I got feedback on what I could have done better. Anyway, so that's an example of me just stepping outside of my poetry zone just to see like what is going on, just to get feelers for writing, because you know you can just have unpublished stuff for like years and years and years. But I really implore people to be published, seek publication, seek getting your poetry out there, seek getting whatever you're putting together out there and getting that feedback. And it's almost like also a confidence booster. I think one of the things that I have started to grow out of is this idea of all the ideas stay up here and they become the like perfect idealized versions, right? Like this is where it could go and all this stuff, and I got all these ideas and they're just floating around and nobody would understand. It's just like, well, how do you know? Like, how do you know that people don't understand or they won't get it or they won't appreciate it or they won't like it until you get it out there, right? So that was another reason, getting it out there, yes, to see my name and stuff like that, yes, to build up kind of a portfolio while I'm in school and not just wait until graduation, but to like, you know, have people see what I'm writing and be inspired by it. If they're inspired by it, if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And getting, I think a lot of the anxiety about writing goes away when you actually submit it somewhere, because it's not just this idea just on paper somewhere in a closet. It's like out there and someone else can judge it. And there is a sense of vulnerability that has to happen when you are in publishing, right? Like, you have to be vulnerable. You have to write poems that people will read. And I'm not talking about in terms of like marketing to people who will read it, but just submitting and having people read it. You have to be brave enough to put your work out there. And so I have been greatly rewarded by doing that, because the first person I submitted to accepted pretty much like everything that I submitted. So I'm going to keep going with that. And for the summer, you know, I had like a lot of doubts of like how active I would be as far as writing, and now I'm just like, I should probably go back to it. So that's just a little update. I got accepted to one. I've applied now for 2 more, and they're like awards where you get money and stuff like that. So, you know, the chances of getting the awards is probably like lower than like just getting submitted, you know, getting accepted to a journal. But I'm willing to take that risk as well. So I decided to take that risk. I decided to apply to this journal. I decided to apply to these awards. I did notice that on one of my award applications, when I reread the poem, and I don't know if I pulled it from the same document, but I reread it, and I'm glad that I did, because I had to edit it, because I said skill instead of skull, which is a different, like, it definitely, if you were to read the poem, it definitely makes a difference that it's skill and not skull. But I had to reread it, so, you know, I may have disqualified myself with the first one. And then I had a simultaneous submission. So a simultaneous submission is you submit like a work to multiple places, right? In the hopes that one of them will stick and one of them will get published. Some people like simultaneous submission. Some journals are okay with it. Some journals do not want you to submit anything that you're submitting somewhere else. Essentially, they kind of want new and fresh work, and they don't want to have to, I guess, compete with different journals for the rights to that work. For publication, right? Like, if you've already published this in 3 journals, then it's not really fresh or new, right? It's fresh and new to their website, but it's not fresh and new work in general, right? Like, anybody can see it like other places, and so there's no point, right? And so that's kind of why. But I've done simultaneous submissions, and I let them know, and I kind of hope I get the second one, because the first one, like, obviously the application is kind of effed. So I do kind of want the second one. And now that I have submitted to these 3 things, my entire portfolio that I built over the course of a year is kind of done. So I have to make new work now. And so what I'm going to do is get back to writing my ekphrastic poetry, which is what I was doing before my grandmother passed in February. So I was doing ekphrastic poetry challenge, and I had started to fall off before she passed, but once she passed, it was a wrap. So ekphrastic poetry, which is like a personal kind of journey that I was doing. You guys were seeing the blackout poetry that I was doing, which is like taking words from a book or words from whatever. I was using Zen, like the little calendar pull, you know, it's like you pull every day and there's like a new quote or inspirational quote or something like that. And so I was using blackout poetry with that. That's what you guys are seeing. So I'll start uploading that and stuff like that, and that pulls a lot of ideas for me. I guess I should do a video about where I get ideas for writing poetry. I think I should probably do that. But yeah, thank you for watching. That is my publication thing. I've been accepted to 1, I've submitted to 2, and I am looking to submit to more. And just mull through the ideas of what it means to be a writer, vulnerable, submitting things, getting feedback, getting rejections, getting acceptances, and understand that your writing journey is a mix of stuff, and to not give up, especially if you're in an MFA program. I would definitely build up your skills while you're still in school. Get those names under your belt, those journals under your belt, because you also are building connections with people in the writing communities that you're submitting to. And so, if you submit enough times, they may know you. You may end up for a job. You don't know. Submitting things is also like a networking tool. So thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.